Hey friends, this is Tom Lord, citizen of St. Cloud. We're here with John Arguello. We're about to start the show Unsanctioned. If you are watching right now on X, please hit that like button and share this out on your personal X and to any friends that you might have. If you're watching on Facebook, please definitely share this because we are shadow banned on Facebook. They try to cut back our reach as much as they possibly can. If you're watching on LinkedIn, awesome. Welcome to the show. And if you're watching anywhere else, just please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate your support in doing this show, and we're about to get started in a few minutes, so let's go.
Read it aloud. Consider that today's lesson.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Jon, Arguello, and Tom Lord.
Who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
She admitted it. Enough!
That is our job. You heard that right. You just heard the media tell you exactly why they do what they do, exactly why they hate Trump. They know they have the monopoly on group thought, and they don't like someone like Donald Trump coming around and waking you up and telling you to think for yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Can you play that again from the very beginning? It's so, listen to, she literally says it out loud, exactly what we've already been talking about, preaching about here on a constant basis. The media is not your friend. Let's listen.
Who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Our job. That is our job. You heard it right there. It's our job to control the message. And she's talking about, in general, the media controlling the message across the board, essentially it being a cohesive one message. Wow, that's crazy that you heard that.
Well, we finally got some truth out of the morning schmo
show. The morning schmo show. So welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned. I'm school board member Jon Arguello. I'm here with my good friend Citizen Tom, and we are going to break down what's going on across the country, in our state, and in the most corrupt county in the state of Florida, Osceola County. Before we do that, we're going to say a quick little prayer and then go right down to business. Lord, we are so appreciative of your inspiration to this country, what it means. This country's place in the world is inspired. You created that place, and you inspired our founders to create a place that was completely unique. And every day it becomes less unique when we ignore your will. So please, Father, continue to inspire the leaders of this country to cede, to bend the knee to something that's actually important, not to money, not to power, not to greed, but to your inspiration. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, so we got a ton of stuff to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to begin with the press secretary. Actually, no, let's not. Let's start with the person who everyone is fiercely afraid of. We're going to start with Trump.
Yeah.
So Trump is one endorsement closer to locking up the presidential primary. On the conservative side, we all know that Trump is going to win this primary. There's only one hope, right? The only hope that anybody has is that they put Trump in jail and Trump keels over from a heart attack. That's it.
And I think that's why there's a lot of guys still hanging around in this primary. Is that
that's
they're
the only
waiting
reason
for that.
But let me tell you the honorable thing here, right? If all of these Republicans did the honorable thing, what they would do is they would drop out, they would support Trump, because it's clear that he's going to win the primary, right? Unless they steal the election, unless they finagle it, unless they get their wish and they put him in jail, he is going to come away. And if he does go to jail, they should still drop out of the race and support him, so that these Democrats, these ruthless, feckless, corrupt Democrats, don't have even the slightest opportunity to reject what the American people by majority want in this country, which is President Trump. Even Democrats, I mean, we're looking at numbers come across pollings from every source, whether it's NPR, anywhere, they're all saying the same thing. People have understood, okay, we understand now. We understand. The government is against us. Trump, I don't like him or whatever. Personally, me, I do like him.
Yeah.
I think I love his Twitter feed. I think it was when he was sending tweets, for me, that was an inspiration to laugh. I laughed my butt off with him. I think he's one of the funniest people. So I'm not offended. Why? Because I'm not a judgmental person.
No.
Right? So I'm not trying to, you know what I am judgmental about? Politicians. If you're a politician, you swear an oath to do a job, and most of the politicians fail in upholding to that oath. That I'm judgmental about. But if you're just a whatever person, whatever, it's not my job to judge you, so I don't judge Trump. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Absolutely.
let's check out this video. You would think, well, let's check out the video. Let's check out the video first.
Seeing tonight is one tree in a forest. And I think we are drifting towards the greatest constitutional crisis since the 1850s.
Which is clear.
Yeah.
Absolutely
and the
true.
rise of secession and the Civil War. I don't mean that as hyperbole. If you read Andy McCarthy's remarkable book, Ball of Collusion, which came out in 2019, he makes very clear that it is Barack Obama who corrupts the Justice Department. It is Hillary Clinton who routinely breaks the law and gets away with it. And now we have Joe Biden who's learned. He's learned from Obama that doesn't matter what you do, if you're a liberal Democrat, you will not be prosecuted. He learned from Hillary that a person in high public office can get millions and millions of dollars. And they learned from watching Donald Trump that a true outsider willing to take on the entire system could destroy their entire machine. So what you're seeing across the country is a desperate last-ditch effort by a corrupt machine to destroy their most dangerous opponent in a way which not only breaks the Constitution, destroys the rule of law, and establishes a moment of bitterness which I think will last for a generation or more. I think this is going to be a horrendous period, and we just need to understand the people who want to control America and dictate to the rest of us will break any law, lie about any topic, and manipulate the system any way they can, and that includes a lot of the elite news media.
Yeah.
They will break any law. They will break any law. We've already seen it. They break the law all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're prosecuting Trump for things that Hillary and Biden and Obama have done. Literally, there's proof of it. That's not hidden. It's not somewhere in some closet. It's definitely not in some closet like Biden, because he doesn't hold anything that secure. We already know.
Yeah.
This is a political persecution. It's banana republic stuff. And here's the funny thing. We begin to hear the same thing. All this is gonna come around full circle by the end of the show, right? Where we talk about how people speak. Let's listen to the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia and what he says. And I want you to pay close attention, because, like I said, it's gonna come full circle.
This feels different. You know what Donald Trump did his most damage in Georgia. He sucked the soul out of the Republican Party here. He sucked the morality out of the Republican Party, the fiscal responsibility out of the Republican Party. He sucked our winning percentage out of the Republican Party. He's taken everything from us, and it is our turn to take it back, right? It's our turn to win elections based on the policies that we think we're better on. This is the prime spot for us to take Joe Biden to the woodshed and call him out for not running the border right, not protecting our communities, not putting our best foot forward internationally. These are our moments in time. But if we make this about the three-ring circus of Donald Trump, we will lose, and lose again.
You make a good point that...
No, he doesn't make a good point.
He doesn't make a good point. So here's the funny thing about this. What he's saying, okay, this guy is blaming it all on one guy.
No.
Is he really talking about Donald Trump, or is he talking about Donald Trump's deplorables? He's talking about the deplorables. He's not talking about him.
No.
Donald Trump is meaningless if Donald Trump did not have the following that he has. Donald Trump is not the real danger. The real danger is the people, the 35% of America who are with Trump, whether you put him in a jail cell. Even if Trump were to die tomorrow of a heart attack, God forbid, Lord, don't do that to the country. We can't afford it. But if some kind of tragedy like that were to happen, people would still write his name on the ballot. And people are going to say, oh, well, look, Arguello's crazy. He's so pro-Trump, he's going to vote for... No, I'm just telling you that 35% of America is that devoted to this man. Why are they devoted? Is it because Trump is Trump or whatever? No, none of that matters. It's not about Trump. You know what it's about? It's about what Trump has said and done that nobody else or everyone else is afraid to, that no one else has acknowledged. We all know it's true. And now what we wanted was for someone to say it. We wanted for someone to acknowledge what we know, and they have refused to do that for decades. For decades. It's not since the 60s.
Yeah.
Look at Kennedy, right? Their involvement, the government's involvement with Kennedy and whatever. I haven't even looked at any of those documents. I don't know anything about that. But the fact that they're allowing the country, its citizens, to speculate what their involvements are in the worst crimes that we could imagine, the largest pain and suffering topics in our country. And Trump is one of them. You put him in jail, it's going to be like an assassination.
Yeah.
You put Trump in the country, it will be like an assassination, because people will be so upset. All faith in the government is gone. And this is what the politicians love, and we're going to move on to the next thing. But politicians love to go from one thing to the next, right? And especially, you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican. We're going to trade back and forth. You get here, you hold the gavel for 4 years, then I'll hold it. Then you hold it, then I hold it. Then you hold it. But in the end, we're holding it together,
Yeah.
right? And we're in this together. But with Trump, all of a sudden, they don't have the gavel. They don't have the power. Trump has all the power because the people have all the power. He's energized the people. The people control it through their mass movement. Look at Bud Light, for example, right? They've killed this gigantic corporation. Billions, tens of billions of dollars that they've sapped from this corporation. They're begging people to drink it. They're trying to find anybody. Now they're happy just to have the transgender community drinking Bud Light because nobody else will. But God forbid they don't sell a single drop of Bud Light to anybody.
Yeah.
So the American people have that power, and when we realize we have that kind of power, then we move the government in the direction that we want it to go. And when we forget, when we're in our homes or we're in our jobs and we're just trying to work and we're trying to survive, and we've forgotten that the government is supposed to serve us, then we're all victims of the government on a constant basis. whether it's being taxed to death, whether it's having our kids being lied to about being confused of whether they're what gender they are, or having our kids victimized by what bathroom they can be in with safely or not, right? Or having our girls have to compete with boys. I mean, the government will do all kinds of crazy things because they're going to test boundaries the way that a kid tests boundaries. Yeah. You know, and so we're going to move on. But listen, keep this in mind. This is where we're starting the show, right? This is about this Trump, the danger that is Trump, and the people are saying it, the media saying that they're the ones that are supposed to be in charge. And when the media says they're supposed to be in charge, they're only a facet. They're the mouthpiece for all the corrupt people that are in power. When she says we are supposed, she's talking about we, that whole unit, right, of elites. Let's go to our first story here. What kind of crazy stuff would government do, right? How about give money to terrorists? Oh, wait, I'm not talking about Afghanistan, where we gave them $88 billion worth of military equipment. Let's check out this next story here.
I want to ask you about, which is this deal that's apparently coming together to free Americans from being held wrongfully in Iran. It would free up $6 billion in frozen assets for the Iranians to use. I believe we're releasing some Iranian prisoners as well. We are told that there will be strict guardrails on that money that Iran will now get access to. Here is strict Democrat and veteran, one of your colleagues, Congressman Seth.
This money is going to still sit in a Qatari bank account. Only the Qataris will have authority to release it. So basically what will happen is Iran will say, hey, we want to buy $10 million worth of grain. Qatar will write the check for that themselves. The grain will go to Iran.
The administration says they will have transparency about where the money goes. Are you confident of that?
Well, look, Reagan said trust but verify, but I have to use the word naivete. Look, these are like accounts in South Korea frozen, assets going to Switzerland, and then to Doha, Qatar, to then go into Iran. The idea that the Ayatollah is not going to have any control over this money. And by the way, we're talking about $6 billion, right? $6 billion. Under Obama, it was
$6 billion. Okay, so let's talk about $6 billion for a second. $6 billion is more than 1% of their entire GDP. So imagine, their GDP is 80-something billion dollars, okay? It's, 80-something billion dollars. I think it's 80-something billion dollars. It's 100 and I don't know what it is. Yeah. Anyways, when I was looking at what their GDP is, this bumps it up, $6 billion bumps it up by 1%, an entire percentage point more. It's like 1.25 percentage points. It bumps up their GDP, their entire national GDP. Can you believe that?
It's unreal.
They're increasing their GDP by an entire percentage point. They're giving terrorists another $6 billion. You're talking about giving the money that they're giving to Ukraine. Now they're giving it to terrorists. They're not just giving it to some corrupt oligarch. They're giving it to a terrorist.
400 million of cash and airplanes that went into Iran. Look, I want to get these Americans home more than anybody. And one of them is a critical asset. I agree with that. But we have to go in eyes wide open. $6 billion that now is going to go into Iran and prop up their proxy war terror operations and their nuclear bomb aspirations. They are now starting to talk about the JCPOA all over again, which in my judgment will lead us down a course to a legal nuclear bomb in Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu came out strongly against this. I think we're going back to the mistakes of the past. And finally, Shannon, get this. Our special envoy to Iran to negotiate the JCPOA is under investigation for mishandling classified information. He has most sensitive information as our top negotiator to Iran and to the Ayatollah, now under investigation for mishandling classified.
I want to ask you about, which is this deal that's apparently.
Wow. Oops.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable, John.
Yeah. So it's I just looked it up. It's their GDP is almost $470 billion. So $6 billion is about a percentage point, just over 1% of their entire GDP. They're giving terrorists. Now these guys, let's see, they've been killing American. They were killing American soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. They have essentially what is a terrorist government that terrorizes not only international situations and people in international circumstances, but even their own population. So they're not only a terrorist group, international terrorist group, they're also a domestic terrorist in their own country. And us giving them $6 billion is just, these guys are out of their minds. Yeah. Out of their minds. Why would they? Why is it that Biden and Obama wanted to give Iran so much money? Remember when he was here? They were even talked about it in that story, right? Yeah. When Obama was president, man, he couldn't wait to give them money. Why are they so desperate to give Iran money? Iran is building a nuclear bomb with this money. There's no doubt about it. And verify. How are they going to verify a terrorist nation?
Right. Especially when you hear at the end of the story that the person that's going to be distributing the money has some troubles of their own.
No, absolutely not. The idea that Qataris are going to not give them their money, you're giving money to terrorists. It's crazy. If they're going to spend $6 billion buying grain, right? What are they going to do with the money that they were spending on grain before? Right. So they're generating income. This is not like North Korea where they have no money. They got to sell bones and body parts to come up with money to survive. This is a gas nation. It's a rentier state, meaning that they have a whole economy based on fuel. Right, so they pump oil. Now you're going to give them $6 billion, whether it's to buy grain or hospital supplies. What they're going to do is they're going to take the $6 billion that they were spending on grains and hospital supplies before, and they're going to spend that building a bomb. So this is just absolutely horrendous. It's almost like they want a war, and I would not be surprised.
No. But John, there is some people that are very happy about this deal.
Well, yeah.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
There they are.
There you go.
I hear there's some wild and crazy guys.
These guys, they love Joe Biden. They're going to send an absentee ballot with Joe Biden's name with little hearts all over it.
Unreal.
Yeah, that's craziness. But it's not only international affairs that Biden messes up and his team, right? It's home as well. So we had at one point a we were paying $1.89 a gallon, about under $2 a gallon. Today I paid almost $4 a gallon in gas when I filled up. I have a small little car, not the tiniest car, but I have a Volkswagen. Right, in my Volkswagen, it cost me $70 to fill up. I mean, I'm not driving like a giant truck.
No,
I wish I was, but I'm not. And to spend $70. It's crazy to fill up a car.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. But, they're celebrating. They're celebrating their victory, and they're celebrating their Inflation Reduction Act still. Let's watch this.
But President Biden wishes he hadn't called it that because it really has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with inflation.
Yeah. The idea that he would even... obviously he clearly lied, right? That's what it was about. He lied,
and we have a clip of him lying again. I mean,
by the way, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America. I watched that bridge collapse. I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground, going over a valley.
Man,
collapse.
This is just sad to watch.
Thank God school was out.
Thank God school was out. What bridge is he talking about? What bridge is he? He's talking about the bridge to reality that he used to have a connection to.
Yeah.
He no longer has any reality at all, any connection to reality whatsoever.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me read what Biden was saying. He said, I wish I hadn't called it that. It has less to do with reducing inflation than it does providing for alternatives that generate economic growth. What kind of economic growth have we seen in this country?
I haven't seen any.
We haven't seen any economic growth. No. Bidenomics, I don't know, why would you name that? It's like saying Obamacare, right? Obamacare was supposed to be an insult to Obama.
Right.
They ended up taking it over because they're way better communicators than Republicans are.
Right.
And then they started using Obamacare as if they were proud of it. Obamacare still sucks.
Yeah.
And it will never stop sucking.
No.
But I mean, just like Bidenomics is also, it's horrendous. Bidenomics is the destruction of the world's strongest economy. That's literally what it equates to.
It's insane to me that they're running around talking about Bidenomics and it's working and all these things. They should be ashamed of it, but I guess they're just going to embrace it and own it, and their puppets in the media are going to try and make you believe that everything is great when it really isn't.
Which is why they're mad at Trump, right? They said it earlier, right? Talking about we're creating a map here, right? Like, this is exactly why. They want to create these images. They want to tell you Obamacare is good. They want to tell you Bidenomics is great. They want to keep telling you these fake narratives. And when you have somebody like Trump saying, what the hell are you talking about? Bidenomics is a disaster. They don't like it, especially when people are listening, especially when you're insulting somebody who thought they were beyond reproach their whole careers, right? So,
I mean, you can see it for yourself. You just go to the grocery store, you go to
we all
Walmart,
know.
You go wherever you go to go shopping, and you can see what's going on.
We all know. It doesn't matter whether you're buying fuel or you're buying cookies. It is out of control. All pricing is out of control. Companies are out of control. Our home prices are out of control. Everything is out of control. Inflation is out of control. I mean, it's the entire thing.
Yeah.
Let's watch this next video here so that we can see there's some people who love it.
Yeah.
Being equally divided, the vice president votes in the affirmative and the amendment is agreed to.
I hear that's her favorite show. Her favorite movie. The entire commercial. There they are burying the economy of the United States. So the majority of her little junket there was like Green New Deal.
Yeah.
Right?
And
that's what they're
basically
celebrating.
what this whole thing is.
That's what the whole thing is. This is a big climate. The Inflation Reduction Act is nothing but a big Green Deal rebranded.
Has nothing to do with inflation reduction.
It has nothing to do with inflation reduction. He even said it, right? He said it himself. But of course it doesn't. This is all about getting their agenda across. A whole bunch of Republicans voted for this. I can't believe it. They all need to be primaried.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Here's the funny thing about that commercial. So they acknowledge it. So what it did was increase inflation because they basically had to print money in these industries. Now, who's in these industries? Other Democrats, right? Essentially, in the end, this always comes back to the lobbyists. The lobbyists come, they ask for money, they get the money, they give it to these organizations. The organizations give lobbyists money. Lobbyists go back to Congress. They ask for more money. Congress writes a law. They create more money. They give it back, and it's a big vicious cycle. But obviously, it's destroying the economy. They're just printing more money, and this time it was to basically put in effect AOC's
Green New Deal.
Green New Deal, yeah.
Here's the truth, John. Inflation rose 3.2% in July, and global wealth has dropped for the first time since 2008. The highest losses were in North America and Europe. And
That
it's
is
driven by
crazy.
inflation. So
That is crazy. The biggest losses in worldwide wealth are in North America. Who would have ever believed that, right? I mean, it's like, this is like bizarro world that we're in.
Yeah.
Some kind of alternate universe. 2008 is when I got out of the Army, by the way. I got out of the Army active service in 2008, and I came home, and remember, home prices were sky high back then, right? Yeah. I bought my house that I currently live in that year, and to see that the economy has, it grew so much for so long, and then it just takes a nosedive. I mean, that was so long ago. My point was, that was so long. 2008 is so long ago, and it's crazy that our wealth just it's dissipated. It just disappeared, evaporating, kind of like a line of coke around Hunter Biden. So let's check out this video here.
Into a weakness. And one of the things that I think Joe Biden was elected to do was to clear out the mess in the White House, bring ethics and decency back. And this is clearly an effort to do that. Now, I think the White House and the president's re-election need to take this a bit more seriously than what they're doing. It was very easy for a long time for Democrats to just say, well, that's stuff on the crazy right-wing websites.
They could call it House Republican stuff, right?
Yeah, and now if it's going to be in trial, it's going to be front page news everywhere. I think they need to appreciate that this could damage him pretty seriously.
But President Biden's handling of the case has raised questions at a time when voters already have doubts about his age and political standing. Biden brought his son to a state dinner just 2 days after the plea deal that has since collapsed was announced. And he has repeatedly defended him, denying wrongdoing altogether, even though Hunter Biden himself has pled guilty.
You know, it's amazing to me, John, to see an
I can't
ultra-lib like Chuck Todd, you know, bringing these things up and talking about it.
You are so right, yeah.
You know, but it was just, you know, a few short years ago where they were defending the veracity of the report that the laptop was Russian disinformation, and that was going around. I mean,
how can they ever be trusted again?
Exactly. How can anybody ever believe anything that comes out of the mainstream media after we know at this point in time that all of it was lies? And we always suspected that, but now it's proven, you know.
And they haven't apologized. They still double down. They still don't apologize. They act like, oh, well, this is just normal course of business. We're going to lie about it until we get caught, and then we're going to pretend nothing ever happened. And then, you know, there's a story. There's a Seinfeld episode that I don't know if I ever talked to you about this. There's a Seinfeld episode where George Costanza comes in. Is it George?
Yeah.
Costanza?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm not a big TV show fan, but I saw this snippet. I saw it on a documentary. Anyways, the guy comes in and he quits, and he does a big, loud, you know, like a big, obnoxious. He throws things off of the desk. He calls his boss all kinds of names and whatever. And apparently, from what I understand, that one of the founders or one of the creators of Seinfeld, Larry David, was the guy. He actually did that in his real life, which became this episode, right? Anyways, and he did it while he was a writer on Saturday Night Live. That's what the media is like. So the media comes, they steal, they lie, they cheat, they tell all of America all this BS. They throw a big fit over Trump telling you the truth. They call him a liar. This is a child on the ground kicking and screaming, right? And then anyways, the reason why I brought Seinfeld is because after he did all those things, he goes home and then he regrets quitting. Right? Then he comes back the next day as if nothing happened. And then he tells his boss, oh, I was kidding. I was playing. I was kidding, you know? Well, that's what the media's done. You know, they come back and they try to tell us, now they're going to tell us the truth as if, no, you're going to have to, at some point, just like Bud Light is going to have to apologize and they're going to have to accept what they've done was wrong. The media is going to have to do that. If they never do that, they'll never gain their credibility.
I don't think we will ever see an apology or a course correction from these people.
Then they'll never be trusted again.
They honestly believe that they know more than everyone else, that they create the truth, that they create the news. And, you know, if they make a mistake, they just gloss over it and forget about it.
Yeah. But if they did, wouldn't that be a big deal?
Yeah.
Right? If NBC, if Chuck Todd came out and said, you know what, we're very sorry. And the truth is that we suspected that this was true. And you know what? We're going to own up to it. We'll be better. We'll do it. That would save their credibility at least a tiny bit, right? But right now they have none because all of America knows, except for these crazy people that they dye their hair red and pink and rainbow colored and whatever, and they're crazy to begin with. They start out being crazy, they end up being crazy. Those people doesn't matter. They don't matter. But that's why their ratings are so low, because those are the only people that are paying attention to what they're saying now.
It never ceases to amaze me how many people they can fool.
Yeah, absolutely.
COVID, I think, showed all of us that.
Well, and here's the thing. Again, going full circle, right? So if you try to tell the truth, or if you create any problem, if you don't play along, you get hemmed up, right? You get hemmed up by the system. System tries to chew you up. And that's our case here with our good friend, what is his name? Simon Atiba. So he's an African reporter. Well, he's he might be an American reporter who reports for Africa Today.
Yeah, Africa Today.
And he's a good guy, a good journalist, but he's also sick of the BS from the White House, right? And he gets ignored because he doesn't want to play along. He wants to do his journalist job. They don't allow him to because he basically doesn't do what he's told. He lost access and he lost his pass. Wow. Now, Trump had that big thing. I can't remember what the guy's name is. What was his name? Jim something from Telemundo or some, I don't remember what it was. Acosta. Jim Acosta, that's what it was. Remember Jim Acosta? Jim Acosta got into a big argument with Trump, and Trump was like, okay, well, you're done, right? I'm not going to deal with you. I think that they sued, and they were saying that this was a violation of their First Amendment rights, and they had to give him back. They had to let him back in. So how are they going to take away this guy's pass? How are they going to take away this guy's pass? I don't get it. Of course, Democrats get away with anything. It doesn't matter if it's snorting crack or if it's, getting caught with prostitutes or killing somebody like Ted Kennedy or, or whatever it is. Democrats are allowed to do anything that they want, apparently, including shut down our First Amendment rights.
Now, if you don't remember who Simon Atiba is, here's a reminder.
You have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice. Okay.
And I'm saying that that's not right.
He's complaining about never getting access.
Yeah, she never calls on him.
It's been 7 months. I sent you
The rest of us are here too, pal.
It's been 7 months. You guys
Of course, and then the liberal reporters are like, "Be quiet. These are our secrets."
all my emails have been ignored.
The press corps is tired of dealing with this.
That guy sounds like Julius at the school board meeting, inserting his big mouth where it doesn't belong to try to look like the good guy, but he looks like a sleazeball
Folks should
instead.
respect their colleagues and respect the guests that are here. What I will not appreciate.
How about the White House
is
respect the
disrespecting
American
your
people? That would be
and
great.
disrespecting guests who are here to talk, who were here to talk about an incredibly important issue, which is mental health. And what has just occurred this last 10, 15 minutes is unacceptable.
So why is complaining unacceptable, but lying is not? Why is lying okay for them? They act like it's no big deal. This is what I hate about the whole liberal hypocrisy that, or even Republicans, the whole uniparty. You can lie, but you can lie and we'll make no big deal about it. But God forbid somebody say something in a manner that you don't like and then, full outrage,
Unreal.
Yeah. Well, isn't it a time for a trip to the beach?
Yep. We're going to take you through the Biden administration, or a weekend at Biden's, in less than 3 minutes.
On Maui, Mr. President, are you under the record?
Oversight investigations going on. One of Hunter Biden's former business partners has come out and testified that President Biden, while he was vice president, was actually on various phone calls in which Hunter Biden was dealing business overseas. And so that raises so many more questions, Margaret, about what the president knew, when he knew it, and whether he was involved, which, of course, he himself has always said he has known nothing about those business dealings and was certainly never involved.
All of the time, effort, and all of the moving goalposts, there's no evidence connecting President Biden to any of his son's business dealings. And you can sing all you want and make all sorts of accusations, but the fact of the matter is that President Biden, there's been no evidence to show that he's been involved in anything. And so Hunter Biden will be treated by the Department of Justice as he should be. But Congress needs to stop investigating a private citizen and stop this fishing expedition to try to link President Biden to Hunter Biden's conduct when there is no evidence to support that.
Talk about that poll. Why is there a disconnect?
Sure. Well, I think, you think about the age we grew up in where usually at 6:30 in the evening you get your news from 3 different people, maybe something from your shock jock in the morning or your newspaper or record. There's so much noise coming at people right now. So we're just focused on telling people the truth, the president, the vice president, the entire team, getting out across the country, showing them the proof is in the pudding on Bidenomics.
Prices are now hitting an 8-month high, with the national average creeping closer to $4 a gallon. That price spike comes during a record-setting summer travel season. Energy experts are saying that the recent rise is
on and on and on. There are many things that I'm proud of that we have done that have been, I think, in many ways, and I say this humbly, that have been transformational for our country.
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President? Step by step.
Now, time to check on the nation that he's trying to destroy. He's doing his damnedest to destroy the nation.
Well, he's been on vacation. He's been on vacation 362 days out of his presidency, John.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It's too bad that it hasn't been like twice that amount. If it had been twice that amount, we might be better off, right? If he had stayed in his basement from the moment that he,
I wish he'd just take a permanent vacation.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Just go away.
Just go away. Be on vacation. He's better when he's on vacation. Not as much bad things happen.
Yeah.
Not as many bad things happen. Okay, so before we get into Across the Nation, let me ask you right now, please go hit the like button. Please hit the like button wherever it is on the screen that you're watching. Hit the like button, please. As Tom said earlier, we are shadow banned. We don't get a full reporting of the people who watch and so on. It does catch up eventually, but I think what it does, I guess the purpose would be that they prevent viewership. So hit the like button so that we know that you're watching and paying attention. If you're watching wherever you're watching, thank you for watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Catch us on Rumble later, YouTube, whatever. We're on pretty much all of them. So please like and share if you can. Thank you to those who have. And I reminded me to say that because somebody just shared it who I've never seen watching the show before.
Nice.
But they just shared. So awesome. Okay, let's do it. Across the Nation, right? What do we got first?
Well, we got this story that came up in the news. It's actually, this was a press release from the FBI.
Yeah.
The former special agent in charge of the New York FBI Counterintelligence Division pled guilty to conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions on Russia.
Okay, former special agent in charge of the New York FBI Counterintelligence pleads guilty to conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions on Russia. So what was he giving to Russians? You got to wonder, right?
Wow.
I mean, I thought that the FBI was supposed to be the good guys. What in the world is going on at the FBI? Right? And now that's their press release. The FBI, that's a press. I haven't seen it in the news.
Nope.
Okay, that's their press release. So, I mean, come on, we gotta wonder what is going on at the FBI.
Why isn't the press interested in this and reporting on this?
Why aren't they reporting on it? And why is the FBI putting out a press release? Or why are they not putting out a press release on all the other things that they know are going on?
Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
clean yourself, police yourself. I mean, this is crazy. They're out of control at the FBI. It's a shame to see something that was at one point revered and respected throughout the country as a policing agency, as a law enforcement agency, and today, man, they're not worth a hill of beans to anybody. It's just sad. I mean, they can't even find out who left a bag of Coke in a locker in the White House. If you can't find out who left a bag of Coke in a locker in the White House, in the most secure section of the White House, what good are you?
Yeah.
What good are you? They're chasing down Catholics. Didn't we just see something about that?
Yeah, that's coming up later.
Oh, wait. Okay, we're going to come up with that later. All right. So anyways, that's craziness.
Yeah.
But, hey, spying, being a terrible policing agency, these aren't the only lies going on right now. Let's check this out.
Yeah, so COVID victim families are suing EcoHealth Alliance for creating the virus and releasing it.
Now, I think everybody knows now at this stage, right, that COVID was created in the lab. It was basically unleashed on the American people, whether it was intentionally or unintentional. I'm not sure anybody knows yet, right?
Yeah.
But obviously this was a man-made problem.
Yeah.
And now what men are responsible, I don't know. But usually people who do really horrendous things like this, they never are held responsible for it. So this is crazy because if this family is successful, then you're going to see people start suing everyone who was involved. And I'll tell you what, at what point does somebody like Fauci go to prison, right? Who he was funding them. Now, he's got immunity because he was a government employee, and that was his role, right? So he was doing what was his job and his role. He's going to hide behind that. Yeah. But man, that kind of severe type of negligence that has cost the world trillions of dollars and millions of lives, he's got to be held responsible at some point.
At this point, everybody knows that Fauci lied. And this is something that Fauci has done before. I mean, back in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic, he lied to the public. He was saying, that they were recommending AZT, right?
Yeah.
And they said that was the only safe and effective drug that you could take. And we learned that was a lie because people died from that. So, Fauci, he needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, he absolutely needs to be held accountable for his actions. You can't have a police agency, even a policing agency that lies, nobody's going to be shocked, right? Like the skeptical people who are cynical, But when your doctors start lying, when you start believing in those conspiracy theories, and for good reason, that doctors, the medical healthcare system are treating you wrong for profit, that's a whole other level of un-American that even cynical people are really shocked by.
I mean, it's scary, John.
Yeah, it's
these
terrifying.
are the people that are telling us how what to do and to prevent these things from happening.
Yeah,
And they're the ones making it happen.
They're making it happen. They just put out that whole remember that food pyramid that we used to have, and they just put out the one where they were like, cereal is just as nutritious as fruit or something like the actual fruit.
Right.
Cereal. I think at this point we all know that sugar's not good for you, right?
No.
And so the sugary sweets were more healthy than eggs, like literally than eggs were for you. And that's just, I don't care what scientist is going to say it. There's no way that you're going to convince me that biomedically engineered or bioengineered cereal packed with sugar and junk is more healthy than an egg that comes out of a chicken that morning. There's no way.
I just don't know how we can believe these people.
Yeah,
anymore.
how can you? How can you? I mean, even
God help you if you do.
Yeah, and look at the whole ivermectin thing, right? Like they wouldn't even tell us the truth about that. Why wouldn't they allow us to use ivermectin to treat people? But now they're saying you can. So what? I mean, geez, it's just horrendous.
And they tried to destroy President Trump over that, and
Yeah, they just wanted him gone.
Yeah.
They just wanted him gone. And so for good reason. So what happens? I think that people are abandoning, right? Like this is the part where Dems are just jumping off the crazy train. No. Why? Because you cannot afford to have a world where you're not going to go down, right? No. If I was a Democrat right now, I wouldn't go down with the Democrats. This is crazy train. I'm not going to get on the crazy train. Sorry, I'm getting off. You guys go on, bon voyage, but I'm off. This is my stop. And so a lot of Dems, let's check out this video. No video, right? We got a picture.
No. Just Dems across the country defecting to the GOP. 5 so far just this year. And, we highlighted one on a prior show.
Yeah, 2. I think we've done it twice, 2 different ones.
Yeah.
So we had I'll pull up the list here.
Georgia lawmaker.
Yep.
One of them,
yep. I think there was one in Georgia. So 173 state lawmakers have switched parties since 1994. 83 of them were Democrats who switched to the GOP. 23 switched to the Democratic Party from the Republicans. So only 23 have switched. 83 have been Democrats that switched, right? And so one of the ones who recent is a West Virginia Democrat who became a Republican this year. And then we had the one from Georgia, right? And who else here? Let me see who else we can pick up here. State Rep Francis Thompson switched this year in Louisiana. So I mean, there's a lot. There's a whole bunch. There's no better time than now.
No, absolutely.
And why is that? I wonder why. Because they're full of crazy people, right? But not only is the Democratic Party full of crazy people, but Congress in general is full of old people. And I'm not talking about 70, okay? I'm talking about people who have, I mean, come on, look at Biden.
Yeah.
Look at Biden. I'm talking about people who have lost their senses. Here's a picture.
He's not even the worst case. I mean, it's hard to believe, John, that there are 19.
Look at Feinstein.
Yeah.
Look at Feinstein. Yeah, she couldn't even remember they had to tell her how to vote that day.
19 lawmakers who were at least 80 years old.
Yeah.
And, it's just crazy. Like you said, here's a picture of some of them. I mean,
there's Feinstein in the middle.
Grace Napolitano is a Democrat out of California. Mitch McConnell, we all know the issues he's been having.
This is not fair because that picture was of Mitch McConnell when he was 25 years old. So I'm not sure that makes sense, that picture. But he looks a lot worse now, if you can imagine.
His mouth agape and
his mouth agape. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that video. We need to get that video of him.
Where he's standing there.
Where he forgets that he's on planet Earth. He's like floating through space, time and space. I mean, come on. Enough is enough.
Yeah, we got
Feinstein doesn't know how to vote.
Her daughter is suing a couple of people, I guess, that manage her trust for elder abuse.
What does that say?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is somebody who's making laws in our country. I mean, God help us.
Yeah, that's
who else
nuts.
we have here? Chuck Grassley.
Yeah.
And then Pelosi. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a it's a uniparty, uniparty assisted living. I mean, that's what it is. Basically, it's become a uniparty assisted living facility. All 5 of these need to go. Now listen.
After session, they go to play bingo.
Yeah, I wish. They probably can't even count that high anymore. But here's the thing. If these people were astute, if they were really sharp, nobody would even be noticing, right? Nobody would be talking about it. Yeah. But the fact is, when you have Feinstein, who doesn't know how to do something that she's been doing for 30 years, when you have Mitch McConnell just start floating through time and space in the middle of a presser, I mean, these are problems. These are problems, and these are the people that are running. Look at Joe Biden. Every minute of Joe Biden's life, you don't know whether he's going to defecate. You don't know whether he's going to say something off the cuff. You don't know whether he's going to fall down or trip. I mean, come on. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the country.
We need to start doing some mental acuity tests or something when they reach a certain age.
Yeah.
I don't know what that age is, but I mean...
But it's, and it's not only, and we hate to make fun of old people, right? But but
they should not be there.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there. But even young people should not be abused in this kind of like this. Like these people, she said that they're elder abusing her and her Feinstein. Well, even babies are being abused by the Democrat Party, and this is how. Look at the crazy. Okay, this is why you want to jump off the crazy train.
Yeah.
Let's check out this story here.
Names like Gunner and Colt are controversial because of gun control claims. And this is coming from a website called Nameberry.
Okay.
They also say that Karen and Jemima and India are controversial names.
Okay. Karen, Jemima, and India. Okay, so this is the most dumb thing I think that we have seen in a long number. I wish. Nicole, that's my wife. My wife's Nicole. Let's have one more baby, please, so that I can name it Jemima Gun Revolver. That's the next name of my next child. I'm gonna beg for one of my kids to name my grandchild Gun Revolver Jemima. Please, Revolver. I'm telling you, my son's name, my next grandson is gonna be called Revolver. That's just the dumbest thing ever. Revolver Arguello, man. That's it, right?
Yeah, well, this website, they cater to gender-neutral names.
Like Biden?
They even have a revolutionary name generator. So if you can't think of something, they'll come up with something for you.
Like EOS X19 divided by 2, like Elon Musk. Oh, gosh.
God help us.
I mean, what's going on in this world? Well, let's come back home.
Well, first, let's hear from our friend Shane.
Oh, let's yeah, perfect.
Hey guys, I'd like to introduce your listeners to Q Streaming. Nope, not like the letter Q, but the letter CUE. Communication unites everyone. For $59.99 a month, no one can offer anything close to what Q Streaming can with no contracts. Here are just a few of the things. For movie and TV buffs like the two of you, they have nearly 30,000 movies and over 6,000 TV series available on demand. More wholesome kids programming than any other services by far, and not just the ones that other big streaming services want you to have. Local channels from around the country, over 800 of them. Over 100 sports channels and all the pay-per-view events. Also, NFL ticket and red zone channels included. These channels alone can cost you $100 to $300 a year. For the ladies, or the ones that identify as ladies, 3 Hallmark channels, 3 Lifetime channels, and the channel my wife likes the best, Investigation Discovery. Oh, snapped. All of this for $59.99 a month. And with the cost of cable and satellite companies continuing to rise, and a much better variety than any other streaming service, the value of Q Streaming is second to none. Go to rshane3434.myqstreaming.com. Feel free to explore the web player, log in as a guest, and search the channels, movies, and TV shows available. I have no doubt you'll like what you see. Sign up today and stop giving your money to those big companies.
right, we are here at the state of Florida, John.
Back to the state of Florida.
And
okay, so this first story, listen. Okay, we're a pro-Trump show. All right. Okay, we're a pro-Trump show. I'm hard-leaning Trump right now. Tom has already decided for Trump. I'm 99% Trump here. Not because of DeSantis. It had nothing to do with DeSantis. It's not against DeSantis. Really, I'm just 100% pro Thomas Jefferson. You know, and so Thomas Jefferson had the vision that the United States would be a whole bunch of independent agriculturalists who lived on their land and worked their land and made their lives happen on their own without government interference, and that's what I'm all about. But I think that Trump is the only person who would ever allow me to live my existence like that. But so it's not against DeSantis. Now DeSantis has had a real tough time in this primary, right? And I think that we already know.
Bad
right?
weekend.
He's had a tough weekend. So this is not hitting DeSantis. We're talking about Florida, right? So if you're a pro DeSantis person, you know, you need, I'm sorry, but you need to contact the show. You need to, we did have a DeSantis Trump thing, right? As time goes on, though, it's being less and less relevant as even a story, as he's battling now to maintain his supremacy over second place.
Yeah, exactly. When you got Chris Christie overtaking him in second place in New Hampshire, which is, it doesn't surprise me in some ways, although
and you have
Chris Christie,
New Hampshire. Well, I guess I wonder what kind of primary they have in New Hampshire. We're gonna have to look into that.
No.
How does Chris Christie even register in a Republican primary? It's got to be one. It's got to be a primary where Democrats can vote, and that's what
exactly.
So, anyways, here's the first one. You know, talk about a bumpy ride, bumpy start to the campaign. DeSantis had a bumpy time in Iowa over the weekend. Let's check out the video.
Yeah, so this one here is Governor DeSantis bumper car with his family. Now, I'm going to pause this real quick because you pointed out something earlier, John. You know, this is Governor DeSantis. He's supposed to be the number 2 guy, right?
Yeah.
There's no one around.
Well,
there's no one around. I mean, you think that now if that was President Trump in there, and this is what you said, there'd be people all around.
If that had been okay, so I think that's true, right? Number one, there's not a lot of. It doesn't seem like there's a lot going on there. If that had been Trump in a bumper car, just imagine how funny that is. That just saying Trump in a bumper car, right? Like that would have been a funny scene.
Yeah.
But there would be people hanging. There'd be people climbing. Like when Jesus was healing people and people would climb trees just to catch a glimpse. That's what it would have been like. People would have been hanging off the rafters of that bumper car place. There would have been a gigantic crowd. That is a sparse crowd.
Yeah, and not only that, the problem, this is how it made news, is that they shut down the ride for Governor DeSantis and his family.
Yeah.
So they shut down the ride. It wasn't like there was a huge line of people waiting or anything for it. But I mean,
the story says there was about 15 people in line.
Yeah, and they shut it down for Governor DeSantis, and basically for this. I don't know.
Which is a safety security thing. That's not a big deal. And that's the question, right? They were saying that this was a mistake, right? And the controversy is they basically didn't allow Americans to ride. They stopped. Who do they think they are to stop the ride and not let anybody? Yeah. Okay, safety security argument. You can make that. It's no big deal. But then his team came out and they said, "Oh, we didn't. Anybody could have gotten on." Come on. Clearly, that's not true. There were 15 people. It says it in the story. There were 15 people waiting to get on. So his team did it. That's not DeSantis' mistake. That's his team's mistake, right? But if his team was smart, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to knock on his team. If his team had really thought it out, they would have had Americans sitting in all of those bumper cars, because that would have been a great American picture, right? Here's the presidential candidate riding bumper cars with his family and with other Americans.
With the public, yeah.
Not like, okay, get those plebes, get those peasants away from me so we can. And that was the thing. That wasn't DeSantis. He probably doesn't think that way. He probably didn't even care. He didn't even think twice. His kid said, "I want to ride the bumper cars." He was like, "I'm gonna go ride the bumper cars." And then his team came and emptied out the place so that they can have it to themselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's terrible. But that's not the only misstep of his team.
It got worse from there, John. This banner was flying overhead while the governor was speaking out in Iowa, and I'll put it back for a second here if I can. Yeah, there it is. Now, that banner, now people have accused President Trump of doing this.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, it was not President Trump. If you look at the banner and the way it said Ron with the exclamation point, that it looks like Jeb, like when Jeb Bush was running. Yeah. That comes from a certain set of people that are very pro-Trump, very anti-Governor DeSantis, and I believe that they were the ones who paid for this to fly overhead. But that's not even.
I wonder. Well, I wonder two things. One, I wonder who did that, right? Because if that was Trump, whether it was or wasn't, it just shows you that Trump's team is better.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is like throwing shade, masterclass.
Yes.
That is kicking dirt in your opponent's face. That's like Cristiano Ronaldo, megging you type of thing. That's like hitting a home run with your eyes closed, or that's like calling where you're going to hit it in the park. That's that's like doing a dunk over someone's head. It is, that's masterclass shade, and Trump does not F around. Right?
The banner said, "Be likable, Ron."
Yeah, be likable. I mean, come on. He's killing him like that, right? He's killing like that. So it's not costing him anything to do that, meaning it's not costing him any votes.
Yeah.
Right? And you'll see that now. You'll see that in a minute in our next video.
Yeah. It just got worse from there.
So this is at an event.
And there's Governor and his wife walking through a crowd being shouted down with "We love Trump."
Yeah, it's just rough. Rough.
And then if you thought it was bad there, all right, it got even worse.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iowa State Fair, let's welcome Governor Kim Reynolds and Governor Ron DeSantis.
He's tenacious, that's for sure. That's the governor of Iowa right there leading, clapping her hands.
Bush Light.
Yeah, thank God it's Bush Light, not Bud Light. That would have been bad.
Same maker, though.
Yeah.
They were the cutest kids I'd ever seen in this front yard.
They're hanging in there with us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here as we have the opportunity. Well, first of all, welcome back to the State Fair. Ron, it's great to have you here, so welcome back.
No, it's great to be here. We're really excited to see everybody. We appreciate how nice everybody is. Great to be in the Midwest. I tell people, normally when I want to do Midwestern nice, I just go to Fort Myers in January.
She's not
and
even looking
I have
at
half
him.
the Midwest
She's
there.
distracted.
But we love everybody that comes down to Florida, but
trying
particularly
to hold
Southwest
back.
Florida from Iowa and other parts.
Thank you. Well, listen, good friend, former colleague, governor from Florida, and so I appreciate that and appreciate the friendly competition. So Ron's out there doing the 99 county tour. I think you may be ahead of me. Hey, you know what?
No.
You know what? We're in Iowa, and in Iowa, we're Iowa nice. So let's give everybody the opportunity to hear our candidates.
Look at how angry
So we'll stop until you do, but we're all going to have an opportunity
until
to
you
hear
stop.
from each and every candidate. That's what we've been doing. So, okay. Hey, you know what? You know what?
Look at his
We're in Iowa,
face. Oh my God.
and in Iowa, we're Iowa nice. So let's give everybody the opportunity to hear our candidates. So
This
we'll
is stuff.
stop until you do.
Thank God they didn't
but
have
we're
a
all
4K
going to have an
camera there.
opportunity to hear from each and every candidate. That's what we've been doing. So, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that clip, all right, and it's not altered in any way, but it was put together by a meme master named McGillifornia, who is part of the Dilly 300, the Dilly meme team, who is 100% pro-Trump. They are Trump's online war machine, and
Man, he doesn't play around.
Yeah, they combine the two different angle footage to put it there, so you can see Governor DeSantis.
But that's what it is, right? You see it happening
legit.
live. It's legit. Those people are yelling for Trump, and here's the problem with that. Number one, they didn't do him any favors by acting like a teacher who lost control over a classroom, right? That looks terrible. She looks terrible. It's very clear. Listen, no matter how much we love you as our governor, just like we do with DeSantis, Trump is the guy, right? They're spelling it out for you. It's clear as day. You come way after Trump in the line of
just come home.
Yeah,
so it's over.
But I mean, even to the governor of Iowa, and she's super popular. But you know what? It doesn't matter how popular you are. If you're in a Republican crowd, Trump is going to be the priority there, and he obviously is. And so her looking like this outraged mom protecting him. He's a war veteran. He doesn't need anybody to be protecting him. Number one, you should have ignored the fact that they were yelling, or you should have made everyone wait until they be quiet before you even got started.
Just let the crowd settle down.
Wave your hands. Yep. Just stand in front and wave your hand and ignore everybody screaming. You just wave, do whatever you need to do. But to sit there and tell, we're going to stop until you stop. They just got control. You think they're going to stop then? No way. I mean, you think they're
that's
going to
like
stop?
asking them to keep it going.
Yeah, that's asking him to keep it going. It was, and you're also talking to adults. So not only does she make him look like a snitch that she's protecting in school and class, but I mean that's not a good look for anybody. It did not do many favors. It's tough.
Very bad weekend for him, and he just needs to just come home, just stop. Enough.
It might be a good time. I mean, the right thing to do for any of these Republicans, in my opinion. Drop out of the race and support Trump and say, you know what, we're not going to allow in this country to arrest and persecute political opponents. We're not going to do that.
We got some guys that won't, like Asa Hutchinson or
no, because they
Chris
want to
Christie.
persecute their political opponents, and those guys are guys that should be tarred and feathered.
Yeah, absolutely. Rhino Republicans.
Yep.
All right, so moving on from the governor's bad weekend. Brian, or no, we're not going to go with that one, are we?
No, we're going to go to Kamek.
Yeah, we're going to Kamek. So, Representative Kat Kamek excoriates the FBI targeting of Catholics.
Yeah.
Catholics, John. And we do have a video.
I know, we have a bunch of criminals, right? We have coke in the White House and weed in the White House. They can't do any of that. So they're going to go after religious people. Right?
Unreal.
It's here's the thing. I don't blame them. The only thing worse than like Hell's Angels is those Catholic nuns coming around town, wreaking havoc. Forget forget all those people that are like busting into a Nordstrom's and stealing $100,000 worth of crap.
Those crazy Catholics.
That's where the real problem is. These people, they do things like pray the rosary and talk about Jesus and go to mass at 7:30 every morning, and it's crazy, right? I mean, so what else could the FBI be doing, with their resources? Getting rid of those damn nuns that are so those domestic terrorists, moms and nuns. That's FBI is the number 1 and 2 most wanted list.
But didn't they go after Moms for Liberty too?
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
Unreal.
Yep.
So here's a little video from Kamek talking about what's going on here.
Just coming in, the House from the House Government Weaponization Subcommittee, Congresswoman Kat Kamek. Okay, this news, taxpayers want to know, what are their tax dollars being used for? Because the news is Republicans in House Judiciary ramping up the probe that they've got proof that multiple FBI field offices in LA and Portland joining the Richmond office in planning to target traditionalist Catholics as, quote, violent extremists and potential domestic terrorists. The question is, shouldn't they be focusing on real terrorists, dozens of them trying to cross the border?
Oh my goodness, Liz, there's so much to cover here. Great to be with you first and foremost. But yes, we have Director Wray lying to Congress saying that there had only been one directive and one field office, that it was rogue, that it was a one-off situation. But yet the timeline and all of the evidence through the transcribed interviews that we have conducted point to the fact that this was a directive from the Washington office that was carried out through multiple field offices. This is a fundamental attack on Americans as we know it. The freedom of religion is a fundamental right of our constitutional republic. And when you have Catholics being targeted by the FBI as potential extremists, which, by the way, it was not the pro-lifers that were firebombing pregnancy crisis centers or going after the churches. It was those on the pro-abortion side after the Roe v. Wade ruling that were targeting those individuals and those.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also them who went to a Supreme Court justice's house with a gun. Yeah. It was also, you know, I mean, if you're going to talk about domestic terrorism, I don't think there's any, you know, I mean, look at the Bob Ayers or whatever that guy's name was, right? One of Obama's mentors. I mean, they're just these people are crazy, and for the FBI to be going after Catholics is just insane. Yeah. It's insane. Who else is going after Catholics? The Chinese CCP.
No.
You know.
Well, Representative Corey Mills
Here's
says
a good
that Republicans are rightly filing articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Finally, I mean, really, this is something that should have been done a long time ago. This should have been. I mean, come on. How long does it take to do this? Why is it taking so long? Go get this guy. Yeah. You know, I mean, if we had a real party, they would be after this guy.
Well, here he is talking about it.
He is filing articles of impeachment against President Biden, claiming he abused his influence by protecting his son, Hunter, from the law. He says the president has undermined the integrity of his office, brought disrepute on the presidency, betrayed his trust as president, and acted in a manner subversive of the rule of law and justice at the expense of America's citizens. Florida Congressman Corey Mills serves on the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Oversight and Accountability, and he joins us now. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. What do you think of this filing of the articles of impeachment? What do you think can be accomplished by filing for impeachment?
Well, I think that there's many articles of impeachment that's been filed, and rightfully so, whether it was looking at kind of what Congressman Stubbe has done with pointing out the conflicts of interest, obstruction of justice, abuse of powers, or whether it's Congresswoman Boebert for the open borders, the fentanyl overdoses, and the continual increase in human sex and child trafficking, or whether it was actually the 13 Gold Star families who need accountability for Joe Biden putting political optics above military strategy. So I think that we need to start looking at the fact that Republicans are going to truly say that we're the majority, that we have to start stepping up and acting like the majority. And the American people see, whether it was the FD 1023 document that shows a spider web of business streams for $20 million plus been wired, whether it's looking at the quid pro Joe where he got rid of the attorney general and that was investigating Burisma so that he could get $1 billion into Ukraine's vice president, or whether it was him lying about the fact that he had no understanding of his son's business dealings, only to find out that now he's taken 20 calls and a couple of dinners that's helped to close the deals.
Yeah,
how about for having Hunter smoke crack in the White House? That's enough for me.
The circumstantial evidence is all around. And in your estimation, while the Senate is still controlled by the Democrats, do these articles of impeachment, as you said, there's many, do they help in the House Oversight Committee or in the process of revealing the truth?
Well, I think that it helps to not only reveal the truth, but as we learned from Devin Archer's testimony, it also is contrary to what Joe Biden tried to tell the American people. He tried to point the finger at President Donald J. Trump that his family was the one taking money from China, when in fact, he and his family, whether it was Hunter Biden, Jim, Haley, you name the Biden crime family, they were actually the ones responsible for taking the funding from China, from Russia, from Kazakhstan, from the mayor of Moscow's wife, $3.5 million, or from China itself. And so I think that it helps to get transparency. And again, the American people want three things when it comes to elected officials. And that's transparency, accountability, and accessibility. And these are all the things that they should have when you have representation in D.C.
Well, Congressman, I believe you've been in Iowa. You might still be in Iowa right now at the State Fair this entire weekend, campaigning with former President Trump. Tell me, we were just discussing this. So many Florida congressmen, Byron Donalds, yourself, others, have endorsed President Trump over the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. What is it that has rallied so many Florida congressmen around President Trump?
Well, for many of us, we believe in his America First agenda. He's one of the only candidates right now who's actually put forth a true agenda and what he would do in the Agenda 47 plan. But also look at his foreign policy. Whether it was his Remain in Mexico agreement, whether it was the Abraham Accords that helped to establish relationships with Israel, whether it was the moving of our embassy to Jerusalem to recognize as actual city and sovereignty, looking at the China Phase 1 deal. And this is what appeals to the Iowans, is the fact that he brought billions of dollars back into the agricultural sector. he really did prioritize an America First agenda, not getting us back into the other, world endless wars or looking at interventionism, but looking at things like tax reform, looking at how do you strengthen the American economy, looking at where we were in our independent sovereignty, looking at where we were in negotiating ourselves out, but also holding our allies accountable, as you saw when it came to NATO and them paying their 2% of GDP. So when you look at all of these things, you look at the direction of the country, the key thing that he holds that no one else does is that he won't have a re-election looming over his head, so he can do the things that may be unpopular in many cases to making decisions, to do that bold course correction, to get America back on track, to restore our values.
Absolutely.
Well, Congressman, I don't know if it was the last time we spoke, but I'll always have it burned in my memory that when we spoke from your undisclosed location somewhere close to Afghanistan, as you participated in Pineapple Express and other efforts to get people out after we so hurriedly.
All right, well, we'll stop there with that. But
well, let me say really quickly, hey, Representative Corey Mills, happy Airborne Day. Yesterday was Airborne Day, and Corey Mills was in the 82nd Airborne, so happy Airborne Day to you, and congratulations on all your success. I think that a lot of people who were big fans of Anthony Sabatini were worried that Corey Mills was going to be some kind of pushover, right? He has that actually delightfully surprised many people who wanted him to be the guy that he actually is being in the House and standing with Trump. So good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, we'll move on to Matt Gaetz. Again, he's seeking to defund the postal ICOP program. Now, John, do you know what ICOP is?
My gosh, ICOP. Yeah, so ICOP, let me pull it. I don't even know if I still have that story up or not, but this is, I can't believe that this program even exists. I was asking Tom, hey, what is ICOP? And it's like the Internet Covert Operation Program. Yeah. Right? So Internet, let's look at it. Let me look it up and make sure I'm getting that right. It is the Internet. I'm just going based on memory. Hold on one second. Internet Covert Operations Program. Yes.
So what this
Internet Covert Operations Program by the United States Postal Service.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Number one, this is a totally domestic organization, right? This is an agency of the government that is completely 100% domestic, and they're worried about Internet Covert Operations programs. What is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on? The post office is now going to be spying on us?
Yeah. They'll basically be going through all your social media feeds and determining whether something is a threat or something is offhand, and they'll be reporting that to the authorities for further investigation.
Now, listen, I want to read this segment to you from this program. We determined that certain proactive searches ICOP conducted using an open source intelligence tool from February to April of 2021 exceeded the Postal Inspection Service's law enforcement authority. Since when is the USPS a law enforcement authority to begin with at all? Since when do they have any authority to be a law enforcement agency? I mean, if you're stealing stamps, or I guess if you're printing stamps, you're counterfeting stamps, okay, go to it, I guess. Yeah. But are you kidding me? They're checking the internet. These Democrats are inserting, the Uniparty is inserting things like this to keep tabs on Americans who are waking up. That is the problem. And they will use, didn't somebody say it earlier in the show, right? No. They will lie, cheat, or steal. They will lie about anything, break any law. It was Newt Gingrich. They will lie and break any law to hold on to power. And this is a great example. They're already acknowledging that they broke the law. They exceeded their authority here. And why would they even have this program? Matt Gaetz is a fighter. He is a lion. This is absolutely something that should be defunded. The fact that every Republican, the fact that every American is not up in arms about this blows my mind. But the fact that every representative is not calling to defund them and to find out whoever's responsible for this and probably put them in jail for exceeding their authority. If that were to happen, maybe you'd have people double guessing whether they should exceed their authority.
Yeah.
You know, if you put the FBI director in jail for being a scoundrel that he has been, maybe the next one would think twice about it.
Yeah.
But as long as these guys get away, and as long as they continue to basically victimize the American people, they're going to behave with impunity.
So true, John. So true. Well, that takes us to Rick Scott.
Rick Scott.
Rick Scott's going to have a challenger.
He's worried.
Yeah.
I hear that Rick Scott is terrified about his new primary challenger.
Yeah. And,
Let's check her out.
There she is.
No joke. Tan Mom, as she is known, is going to primary Rick Scott as a Republican. Do you want to go through her platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a TAM mom. Her name is Patricia Krenzel, and she's planning on running for Senate. She's going to try and primary Rick Scott. She went viral in 2012 after she was arrested taking her then 5-year-old daughter to a tanning salon. And I guess she has some kind of tanning addiction. So it says. Now, this woman had her own little TV show. I guess it was on TLC. And let me find that. Where is it? Oh, yeah.
And she says that, if you ask her who she wants to vote for president,
yeah, it's
RuPaul.
RuPaul.
Yeah, RuPaul. This lady thinks that RuPaul should be president.
Yeah, she says that.
I'd vote for RuPaul before Biden.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I would vote for RuPaul before Biden. So, I mean.
Yeah, she her platform is definitely not a Republican platform, even though she is running as a Republican. She said her campaign platform would include LGBTQ plus equality and diversity in the classroom, which is an unusual.
How about
platform.
math?
Right.
How about some reading and science? No, she's like LGBT baby. That's my number one thing. She may be a couple years behind in the news. Is what I'm thinking. Not only did tanning go out about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but the trying to convince kids to change their genders went out the window a little while ago.
Well,
so
John, she calls herself the tannest woman in the world and identified as a tanning addict before she sought help of a plastic surgeon and others documented in a 7-episode TV docuseries called Tan to 10.
Oh.
Yeah, and
out of 100.
I think with that platform and her look, I think she's got a winning ticket there, John. I think she's definitely going to give Rick a run for his money.
Yeah, I'm sure that we just saw Rick Scott. Rick Scott just came to Kissimmee, Florida. He was here. He was at Kissimmee Christian, which is a great church run by a gentleman, a pastor named Jim Book, who's a phenomenal pastor. If you've never been to that church, it's a good time. Anytime is a good time. He's a tremendous pastor. That's one of the greatest church environments I've ever been in. Anyways, they hosted Rick Scott at his church for a faith and freedom type of event, and he did a great job. Carolina Amnesty was there, right? And Carolina Amnesty was there, and she delivered a speech that really blew the socks off of the room. And she was diehard. She was unapologetic. She came in. She blew the doors off of the place. And then Rick Scott came, and Rick Scott's like a quiet, more laid back kind of guy, but he also did a phenomenal job communicating and letting people know why he wins his races, right? Yeah. Because he's a very consistent, very consistent, very calculated approach guy, and he really hit all of the markers that people wanted to hear from somebody who's running for Senate. That he understands what's going on. He was very relatable. Talked about his humble beginnings, growing up with a single mom and in poverty. How he worked at all these different jobs, and just it was really great. He was a real person, Yeah. And very relatable, and everybody walked out of that room really happy that he was their senator. And they also walked out happy that Carolina Amnesty made it to office, because there's been a lot of discussion in our circles, right? And it's like, okay, so is Carolina Amnesty a hard right? We saw the attacks at the Orlando Sentinel. Usually if the Sentinel is attacking you, it means that, they don't like your politics. It has nothing to do with anything else, right? So they've been attacking her like crazy. She's defended herself. And so they both were there at that event. That was a great event. Paula Stark was also there, and she did a good job as well. So I don't think that Rick Scott has anything to worry about.
No.
Your next senator will continue to be a former governor, Rick Scott.
It's not going to be the Tan Mom.
No, it's not. It's not going to be Tan Mom. Yeah, and not somebody who put their child in an infrared oven. No, thanks.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, we have this little video here. Something going on at FIU, John, and
this is outrageous. Now we talk about going full circle, right? Here it is. Here's a young student. This young student here, apparently an FIU student. The video is in Spanish. They're in Miami, right? And he's talking about a flyer that he finds on the wall. Okay, now, can you pause that? Revolutionary Marxist students. Yes. Revolutionary Marxist students. Now, first of all, if I'm going to start a revolution, I think the last people that I'm going to recruit for my revolution is a modern day college student, right? Number one, you can't. Well, I mean, I guess it would be cheap because you only have to buy one uniform, right?
Right.
You don't have to have dual sex uniforms. You only need one uniform. You only need one bathroom. You only need one gender. It makes it very easy for everybody. But seriously, this is an atrocious display of what our kids are thinking. But go ahead and let it ride there. But here's the thing: can you blame students today? We have in the last 2 years, right? These kids are kids. These are kids. So you graduate from high school, you go to college in Miami, right? You can't afford a house. Dice, con el aumento del costo de la vida, you pay $100,000 for a college degree.
Todo esto que está pasando con la guerra, la brutalidad de la policía, los precios altos, el medio ambiente y como que el empeoramiento de las condiciones de vida de las masas. Hay una necesidad urgente para una revolución. Fíjense en las palabras. Los políticos nunca harán un cambio real en los intereses del pueblo, por lo que es tiempo, es momento de que nosotros tomemos nuestro futuro en nuestras manos. Únete al Revolutionary Marxist Student y estudia.
They still spoke with the same terms of this stuff, and so literally they're inviting that stuff into the United States. And it's just a shame to see that on our campus. And these kids, and one of the things that said on the flyer was no previous experience with communism necessary. I hate to tell them, everybody who has experience with communism is not going to want to join a communist club, right? Those are the people that hate communist clubs, and they're not going to go there for any reason. But man, it's just crazy that we're seeing this in our universities. But these are kids. What can you expect? They're frustrated. Americans are frustrated in general. And until the government, until the politicians start making good on their promises to the people, you're going to see crazy left-wing and right-wing groups like this do their thing. Yeah. That's what happens, right? So they're kind of created the problem. It's a shame. Now, our good friend Maria Peraza is she's organizing a protest on the event, during that event. So if you want to find out information and you want to travel down to Miami, she's trying to get 10 people. She's going to rent transportation and go down there and wave American flags during their Communist Day thing. So anyways, if you want information, you want to go down to Miami and you want to protest that communist club, you can just comment below. Maria will find you. You guys will get connected, and then maybe you guys can ride share down to Miami and protest. If we got the time, it would be pretty cool to go down. I'd like to go and see what they're going to say. I'd like to be educated on what they think communism is going to bring to this country. I'm sure so would everyone else. A
lot of pipe dreams, John.
Yeah, a lot of pipe. Yeah, getting hit with pipes more than anything else. Getting hit over the head by an authoritarian regime is really what's going to happen.
By a masked individual.
Exactly.
All right,
Well,
so before we move on to Osceola County, we have one important message that you need to hear.
Again, can you trust a random text? Not surprised to see more lies from the Booth campaign. Now sending out a poll trying to make you believe lies about her opponent, Scotty Moore. Truth is, Scotty is the real conservative in this race, proven by his prior endorsements like Mark Meadows and Ted Cruz. Scotty Moore is the proven conservative. In Erica Booth's 5 minutes on the Osceola School Board, she has accomplished nothing and votes with her Democrat friends. If there's one thing Osceola County conservatives know, it's that Erica Booth is a certified rhino.
This message is paid for by T2G2 PAC. It is not paid for or authorized by any candidate or campaign.
Yeah, here we are.
We want to thank the volunteers who made that video. Thank you so much, because that's an important task. We didn't raise money for that or anything, so there's a lot of talent that went into that video. So listen, Osceola County, the most corrupt county in all of Osceola County. In all of Florida. Let's get into it.
Well, the stage is set for the HD 35 special election.
Stage is set.
Yeah. You know, there's old Fred.
There's old Fred. Old Fred.
So it's going to be on the Democrat side.
Look at the amount of gel in that head of hair. You know, people ask me, why do you comment on hair gel so much? Where did that even start then? What does that mean? Is that an inside joke? No, it's not an inside joke. Look at the hair gel. Look at that. If you put that much gel in your hair, man, I think that you're trying to say something. I don't know what, but you've got to be trying to make a statement, right?
Yeah, some kind of statement. But yeah, on the Democrat side,
that you're slimy.
Tom Keene, Marucci Guzman, and Rishi Baga. And on the Republican side, of course, it's Erica Booth, Ken Davenport, and Scotty Moore. Scotty with a Y.
Scotty with a Y.
So, you know, it's going to be interesting what goes forth. A lot of back and forth.
There is. Oh, when is that? When is that meeting at OCREC? At the Orange GOP. No, it's this month. It's at some point in the end of February. At the end of February. In August. I think it's next week. It is next week. I think it's after.
It's a candidate forum, right?
Yeah, it's a candidate forum at the Orange County GOP. They've invited all the candidates. I think all the candidates will be there. So please show up to that event. I think that you and I will probably be there that night. So definitely go to that event, cheer on your candidate, and make sure that they know that you support them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads to some recent endorsements that have come out for this race. Of course, the most conservative school board member in Orange County, your counterpart, Alicia Farrant, has gone ahead and endorsed Scotty Moore.
Yep, and now Alicia she is a superstar. She is absolutely a superstar. She is a great person. I can't say enough good things about her and her family, her husband. They are truly great individuals, right, and a great family. Yeah. And so they've endorsed Scotty Moore here. Congratulations to Scotty Moore on that endorsement.
Yeah. And then for Marucci Guzman, she was endorsed by Chevron Jones.
Yeah. So Chevron Jones apparently is well known amongst Democrat circles. That when I was looking him up, the only accomplishment that I could find is that he was LGBT. Certified.
Yeah. He was the first LGBTQ
and black.
Yeah, and black state elected official.
But, I mean, that's it. That's all. Yeah. I guess that's the only thing. I mean, you got to have more than that. I mean, so when I was elected to the school board, I should have been saying I was the first generation from Nicaragua who is 250 pounds. And who has brown hair and brown eyes, whose name is John and whose middle initial is A. It's just dumb.
Yes.
It's dumb. If the only accomplishment you have as an elected official is to say that you are LGBTQ plus, et cetera, you've accomplished nothing.
No.
You've accomplished nothing, and you've done nothing for the community that you pretend to represent.
And, she's being endorsed by a Miami Democrat. I mean...
Yeah, so I think that here's why they needed it. I think we were having this conversation earlier. So I guess you need that because, number one, she may not be the most left-leaning candidate, right? And even if she were the most left-leaning candidate, I believe she is hard left-leaning, but even if she was, the left-leaning people are leaning towards Rishi, right? And Maxwell Frost, Anna Crazy Money, who else? I think Guillermo Crazy Smith.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Crazy Guillermo Smith, little Carlito. He's also I think with Rishi. So you got to go pick up that LGBT. And so why do? You go to the very first guy. You go to the guy in Miami who's the first black guy who's also LGBTQ, and that's his only accomplishment. Go to that guy. So I mean, I don't know. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, if I were a Democrat and that was my goal, is just to pick up endorsements by people who had a whole bunch of symbols and names and letters next to their name as an accomplishment. What a waste of time that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Tom Keene picked up the endorsement of old reliable there, Victor Torres.
Yeah, so Victor Torres was the former Osceola. This is a good endorsement in my opinion. I think that he may have picked up this endorsement last time as well. Yeah. But Victor Torres first of all, Victor Torres is left-leaning. Yeah. This is like one of those old dog, can't teach old dogs new tricks type of thing. He's a Democrat through and through. He's an old Northeastern Union Democrat. And he picked Tom Keene. Tom Keene is also left-leaning. There's no right-leaning in Tom. Tom is a left-leaning guy also.
Not me.
Yeah, not this Tom. No. So, I mean, it makes sense that these two guys, that they found one another. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. But Victor Torres is not an establishment guy, though. To his credit,
no.
Victor Torres is not like an establishment guy. So he didn't go with an establishment guy on the left. And so he didn't go with Guillermo. Besides, none of them are supporting. They're all supporting Cruella DeVille for the Senate seat here in Osceola County, also known as Kristen Arrington. And so Victor Torres backing Tom Keene makes sense. That's probably a good pickup. Tom Keene probably needs a little bit of Hispanic vote too, so maybe that helps him.
Yeah. So moving on from the HD 35 race, which will get even more interesting as time goes on.
Oh, wait. So wait a second. I wanted to talk about this too in that race. Now, one of the other candidates just put out a flyer with a picture of Trump on it.
Yes.
Right? Now, was that candidate endorsed by Trump?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So there is no candidate in District 35 that is endorsed by Trump. If you see a picture of Trump on a flyer next to a woman who happens to be a school board member, a very liberal one, that candidate is absolutely not endorsed by Trump. No. Don't fall for it. Okay.
And not endorsed by DeSantis either.
She's not endorsed by DeSantis, but you'll see his picture. Yeah. You'll see Trump's picture.
He still might endorse her. Who knows? But he hasn't.
I hope not. But she's not endorsed. So do not fall for it. She does not have any. There's no endorsement for her. Okay. There's no endorsement from Trump or DeSantis.
She's using the names Trump and DeSantis left and right now. I mean,
just like she did in her school board win, right? She at the last minute she put in his picture. DeSantis's picture on her flyers and sent it out, and she was not endorsed by him. So, don't fall for it.
Yeah, don't believe it.
All right, now
Scotty with a Y.
Scotty with a Y.
All right, so residents are still fighting against this battery factory that they want to build on Macover property.
This is such a travesty.
That was promised to be a community park.
So listen. This
Another
was promised.
lie from our county commission.
Yeah, this was absolute promise. So they're coming up. The county's trying left and right, and so is Darren Soto. So Darren Soto, the Democrat candidate for Congress,
CD9,
CD9, he wants this factory here. So why does he want this factory here? Because he's taking a whole bunch of money from the French, right? Apparently, I imagine. So, but the point is, why are they trying to force this here? The people don't want it. Here's a video. Let's watch this video, right? And there's a woman named Debbie Rambis who is running against Darren Arrington in that county commission seat. And I hope that she wins, man, because if there's no Republican in that race. There's only 2 Democrats in that race right now. Or wait, there's a Libertarian now.
No,
right?
yes, and we're
so
going to
there's
get
a
to
Libertarian
that.
and 3 Democrats. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, she's the one that is leading this anti-battery factory movement. Now, here's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. This is in District 3. It's all the way. It's in Poinciana, heading towards Poinciana on Pleasant Hill Road. This factory is going right on Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is one of the largest lakes in Florida. Darren Soto was saying that he was going to invest millions cleaning up this lake, right? He was going to get some pork from Congress and devote it to cleaning that lake, which is having problems, right? But then you're going to put a factory that's like a hydrogen and battery factory right on the lake. I mean, like on the lake. It is on the lake. And so they need that water in order to feed these industrial processes. This is not an industrial area. This is all houses. So you have nothing but houses. Now, is the county going to bring in they're saying this is going to create thousands of jobs. If you trust our county to create 1,000 jobs, one job, okay, then you better be related to a county commissioner, because that's the only jobs. Those are the only people that get jobs. If you do not have a relationship with your county commissioner in Osceola County, you're not getting a contract. You're not getting no fancy job. You're not getting squat in Osceola County. You got to go build it yourself, because our county commissioners only give contracts to people that, let's say, return the favor, okay, in some way, shape, or form.
That get on their knees and pucker up.
Pretty much. So anyways, let's watch this video.
He's planning to build a new factory in Osceola County, bringing hundreds of jobs to the area.
We want our park back. That is the bottom line.
What'll be built there and the concerns that have some community members pushing back against the project.
People in Osceola County are saying no to the possibility of a battery and solar tech plant taking over their neighborhood. Good afternoon. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Greg Ormeth. The France-based energy sector would expand to the Sunshine State, opening its first U.S. flagship facility in the county. The proposed plant would set off the intersection of Pleasant Hill and Reeves Road, right behind Valencia College. And that's where Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is live. And Daryl, you spoke to some people who are really concerned about this plant.
Yeah, I did, and they brought me right to this intersection. As you see, is a dead end and very close to those homes right there. This could possibly lead to a battery plant that would become an eyesore to these people. And they say it's something that they did not sign up for.
There's a lot to be alarmed here about the fishing community, residents, people that make their livelihood.
Residents in Osceola County have major concerns about the possibility of an industrial plant moving into their neighborhood.
I'm not against clean energy, but this location is horrible. Right next to the lake, right next to my house.
The proposed plant, owned and operated by CMG Clean Tech, would sit here on the 309-acre Mac Overstreet property along Lake Tahoe, right in the backyards of several
producing poison that leak directly into the taps.
Residents say years ago the county promised the open space would become a park.
Look at those houses.
Still in
That's
the
all
plans,
houses.
but it's been downsized to around 42 acres.
We all expected this regional park for 20 years. We have no county parks. And this one that we were supposed to have, they're going to sell it.
So they, listen to this. If you live in Osceola County, District 3, if you live in District 3, Brandon Arrington has been your county commissioner for almost 20 years. There's not a single Osceola County public park in District 3. Is that not crazy? The entire district, there's not a single park, okay? There's one swimming pool, public swimming pool, and kind of like a park, but they gave that to the HOA of Poinciana. They gave it away to the HOA of Poinciana, and they named it after themselves. So it's now the Arrington Pool. So the county commissioner uses public tax money. I can't believe
it's really not funny, but
this is true. I can't believe that we're even saying this. Right? It's like a show. He uses tax money to build a pool names it after himself, right? And then he gives it away to an HOA. And that, guess what happens at that pool? That's where you vote. All right, so it's a big sign that says Arrington. It doesn't Arrington, the big fat jerk. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't say that. No. It doesn't have his complete name. It's only Mary Jane.
Mary Jane Arrington Pool or whatever it's called, or aquatic complex or something.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is crazy. It's crazy. And now they were supposed. The family who donated this land, they did it under the premise that this was going to become a park.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to sell this land. Darren Soto, the congressman, Brandon Arrington, Ricky Booth, all those county commissioners are trying to sell this land to put in a battery factory. Now, if you live in District 4, you're also on Lake Toho. If you're in District 5, you also live on Lake Toho. Okay? So Lake Toho touches 3 districts, District 3, District 4, and District 5. So your water, okay, your lake, one of the largest lakes, I think it's the 6th largest lake in our entire state, is going to be completely screwed by having a battery factory. Think about a battery factory on the shores of this lake surrounded by homes. I mean, it's crazy. This is actually happening.
County says back in March, the board granted approval for staff to negotiate with CMG Cleantech for sale of the property, but says both parties are still in the concept stages.
They're wasting precious historical property. They're throwing away Florida's history.
They already did that with our logo.
In the name of money.
Who's getting
the
money?
proposed factory agreement will go to the board for consideration, and the board may approve or reject the proposed agreement in its sole and absolute discretion. These people say they will continue to fight for the places they love, and they want the county officials to see the same. We're live in Kissimmee. Dar Matthews, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
So here's what I think. I mean, they should sell, the school district should buy that land.
Yeah.
You know, and put a school there instead. I bet you they would rather have a school there, you know, than they would rather have a factory. Yeah. There's all kinds of, put the damn park there. That's what the family said. Put the park.
Yeah.
Man, it's nuts. It's nuts. I can't believe, sometimes I can't believe this happened. But then I think it's Osceola County, and I remember that unicorn.
Well, good luck to Debbie and
good luck to Debbie,
the team
who's fighting
over there
that.
with the No Factory Zone people. Keep up the fight. You know, you have the community support.
So here's more good news. Here's more good news from our county commissioners who have created such a great environment in Osceola County. And this is, kudos to a local newspaper, which normally prints nothing of value, in my opinion. But they finally got one right. Brian McKnight from a local newspaper wrote a story here that actually means something.
Yes.
Kissimmee has least affordable housing in area. I'm surprised that they would even allow this story to be published, right? Because this is kind of like a establishment mouthpiece on most days.
Yeah.
But let's read some of this story here.
Yeah, the study was done by Orlando Metro Affordability Report, and it was released in July of this year.
Yeah.
By Realty Hop.
Yep. And according to a real estate study, Kissimmee is last when it comes to affordable housing in the Central Florida area. Last. That's not like in the middle. That's not near the bottom. Last. The grim statistic could be attributed to wages falling to match the cost of living and new construction not addressing the need in the area. I mean, that's a quote from someone else. So listen, here's why this is happening. Because we have absolutely zero diversity in Osceola County in terms of jobs, right?
No.
And when they do want to make a job, that job only benefits the county commissioners. It does not benefit the community around. So you only have people that are pumping gas, serving food, working at Disney World in Osceola County. Any great jobs, they're gone, right? And when you had a ton of land, which we do, we have land here in Osceola County, but who owns the land? The same moronic county commissioners, people like Ricky Booth and so on. They're one of the owners of the lands, and that's all them, and they control it all. And so what are they doing? To me, this is all intentional. It seems all intentional.
No. You know, there's a lack of affordable housing throughout Central Florida, John, and a lot of these people that are working at Disney in some capacity, shape, or form are living in the hotels on 192 because they can't afford to buy a home there isn't enough apartments, there isn't enough, and that's Kisseme's problem right there.
Yeah.
I mean, no diversity in housing or either,
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, also, let me go out on this one. Why would they put this story out? Because this is an establishment rag, right? This is an establishment newspaper. They put out exactly what they want. So when you read the story, it looks all great, and then it, whatever. But then they go to one name over and over. They keep putting this name in the story. They didn't talk to any other leaders from what I saw. It's like only one person is quoted. Number one, that's not how you write a news story. You write a news story with 3 sources. You tell both sides of the issue. They should have gone to the county commission. They should have said, why is there no jobs here? Why is there no housing here? Why? That's what a news story does. This is not a real news story. This is still a PR piece. It's just a PR piece, in my opinion, for someone that they want to run in the next elections. That's what this is about. So they're setting someone up, and they're trying to give them this stature that says, this is a good person who really cares about the community, and they're talking about this problem, so you should elect them to your next county commission or next office of some sort, in some position. And then what are they going to do? That person's going to report to the same old people, come up with the same old policy. I don't know. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist at this stage, but I'm not wrong that often.
No.
Right?
Did you notice this, John, right there?
Where?
There's an ad there. The Osceola News Gazette is seeking the help of talented freelance writers.
Ooh, we should write some stuff for them, right? I wonder if they would publish it.
But watch what you write, because if you write something that pisses off one of your county commissioners, they might call the publisher and have you...
Didn't that happen to someone that we know?
Did it?
Yeah. So you try to write good stuff. You try to be fair about the stories, but if you do that, you're not going to have a place writing at that place.
Don't piss off your local county commissioner, because you'll be out. So there you go.
That was your local county commissioner.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't be surprised if I had written something for the Gazette that they would have certainly called. My local county commissioner would have called. My local county commissioner probably sleeps with a picture of me on his dream board of me being hung or something.
And I was so fair and down the middle on everything when I wrote. But anyway.
They don't like the truth.
No, not at all. Not at all, John.
Well, that is the news for this episode of Unsanctioned. And man, we made it. How long have we been on?
We've been on for 1 hour and 52 minutes, John.
Oh, that's too long. That's too long. We spent too much time enjoying the news instead of just talking about it.
Absolutely.
Listen, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you watching the show and spreading out. Please continue to share it, like it. Don't skip don't skip the action of liking. Go and like the show. So if you watch, even later on, hit that like button, please. Yeah. Please do, and also hit that share button. Okay, if you think someone else will enjoy the show, if someone might share our views or share your views, please go ahead and hit that share button. Follow. There's a million of you. I'm telling you, there are a ton of you, and I mean a ton. When I say a lot, almost all of you. Okay, that you might be following the show, but there's also an invited link, and you got to accept that invited link. So please do that. Also, follow us. Follow me at Jon Unsanctioned. Go follow me on Twitter. I finally hit 300 followers.
Hey.
I remember when we started the show, I started that Twitter account, and we had like 6 or 7, I would say, right, or something like that. So I went from 6 and 7 to 300. So thank you for all of you who follow me on Twitter or on Facebook. Continue to, and if you don't yet, please do.
And you can always follow me at It's Tom Lord, and I'm starting to post more there now. I'm actually enjoying X quite a bit. I guess that's what it's being called now. I don't know. When I log in from the computer, it still says Twitter, so I don't know. But definitely, just one reminder real quick. Next Wednesday is the first Republican presidential primary debate. All right. We are going to be having a watch party. John,
please join us. I will put the information below. It's $15 per person. Come watch the presidential primary with us next week. It's very close to my home, so it's in my area back there. So come and join me as we host this primary watch party. It should be a great time, a lot of fun, food and drinks, $15 a person. So it's not expensive. We're just trying to generate some money for the local Republicans. So please come and join us. Have a great time. Stay with us beginning at 7:30 p.m.
Will Trump show?
Yeah, Will Trump show. He's not.
No.
So please join us then. Until next time, on behalf of Citizen Tom Lord, on behalf of School Board Member Jon Arguello, thank you. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Please like and share, and we'll see you next week.